The billionaire CEO, Alexander Graves, exhaled slowly as he settled into his first-class seat. For a brief moment, peace surrounded him, until the soft cry of a little girl broke through the silence. Instinctively, he tried to ignore it, until he looked up and saw something he could not believe. The child's eyes met his, grayish-green, exactly like his own. But before we dive into this emotional story, tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. Don't forget to like, subscribe to Hearts Rewritten, and share this story with someone who still believes in second chances. Above the silver clouds of Seattle, Flight 217 cut through the morning sky toward New York. Inside the first-class cabin floated that quiet scent of new leather and fresh coffee. Soft music hummed in the background. Voices rose and fell in polite conversation, and flight attendants glided down the aisles with trained precision. Golden light shimmered on crystal glasses and polished brass trim. The steady hum of the engines became a distant lullaby. Alexander Graves, billionaire CEO, adjusted the watch on his wrist and leaned back, tablet in hand. Email after email, deal after deal, the same rhythm of a life built on control. Yet no matter how high he climbed, a hollow silence followed him everywhere, a shadow he could never outrun. He was exhausted. This flight was supposed to be a break between one battlefield and the next, but then a sound cut through the calm, a child's soft cry, 2 rows ahead. At first, Alexander frowned. Normally, he'd slip on his noise-canceling headphones and disappear behind the hum of engines, but not this time. There was something in those sobs, something raw, honest, heartbreakingly real, that disarmed him. The crying grew louder, blending with the cabin's quiet murmur. A flight attendant crouched beside the little girl, whispering comfort, but the tears kept falling. Alexander exhaled sharply, tried to focus, failed. "Sir, is everything all right?" the attendant asked, noticing his expression. He nodded, though unease stirred beneath his calm exterior. For a moment he considered switching seats. Then he looked up and froze. She was sitting by the window, clutching a small stuffed rabbit. Light brown curls framed a tear-streaked face. And when she lifted her head, her eyes met his. Gray-green, exactly his shade. His heart stumbled. Impossible. He had never seen this child before, and yet something in her gaze pulled him forward, as if the universe itself whispered, "Look closer." Memories flickered like silent lightning. Laughter, a woman's soft voice, promises broken in the echo of goodbye. Alexander shook it off and stood, driven by an instinct he couldn't explain. As he walked down the narrow aisle, passengers turned to look. Of course they recognized him. The billionaire from magazine covers, the man who never allowed emotion to show. But right now, he wasn't a CEO. He was simply a man following a pull he couldn't ignore. He knelt beside the girl's seat. "Hey, it's okay," he said gently, voice lower than he intended. "You're all right, sweetheart." The little girl sniffled, hugging the rabbit tighter. "I want my mommy," she whispered. Alexander managed a soft smile. "She'll be right back, yeah? She just went to the restroom?" The child nodded, wiping her cheeks with the back of her hand. He glanced around. The seat beside her was empty. The plane jolted through a pocket of turbulence. She gasped, curling into herself. Instinctively, he reached out, steadying her arm. "Shh, it's okay. Look at me." Deep breath. His voice, calm, certain, soothed her. The crying faded to small hiccups, then silence. When she finally looked up again, those eyes pierced straight through him. No boardroom, no negotiation had ever hit him like that. And then, a woman's voice behind him. "Excuse me." Breathless, gentle. He turned, and the world stopped. Naomi Bennett. She stood just a few steps away, off-white coat, jeans, curls tumbling over her shoulders, brown eyes catching the cabin light. Beautiful, familiar, unforgettable. His pulse faltered, or raced too fast to tell. 5 years. 5 years since she vanished without a word, leaving only a letter and an echo he never silenced. Naomi froze, the air between them thick and fragile. Their eyes met. A heartbeat, maybe 2, maybe forever. Then she looked down at the little girl, and back at him. Alexander felt the floor fall away. The pieces clicked into place with a quiet, devastating certainty. That child, Naomi. His voice cracked. This little girl. Her fingers trembled around the water bottle she held. Alexander, she whispered. The plane kept slicing through the clouds, but inside that cabin time had stopped. Neither spoke another word. They didn't need to. The truth was already staring back at them, in the matching grey-green eyes of the little girl between them. She was his daughter. The plane cut through the clouds like a blade of silver. Inside the cabin, the steady hum of engines filled the space where words refused to exist. No one spoke. No one even breathed too loud. Only the soft rustle of a magazine and the distant clink of glassware broke the silence. Alexander Graves remained standing, a few steps away from the row where the little girl, his daughter, had fallen asleep, her small arms wrapped around a stuffed rabbit. Her eyes were closed now, but the image of her face burned into him with the permanence of lightning. It was like staring straight into the past, and realizing the past had eyes, skin, and breath. Naomi Bennett adjusted her coat, trying to steady the tremor in her hands. She fidgeted with her purse, the seatbelt, anything to look busy, but she could still feel his gaze searing through her. 5 years. 5 years spent convincing herself he belonged to another life, and now here he was. Flesh, bone, and silence. Alexander took a step back, still trying to process what he was seeing. Naomi. Alive. So close. And that child. The same eyes, the same small curve of the mouth. He felt the air grow thin. Every part of him screamed for answers, but fear whispered louder. Fear of hearing what she might say. He sat down again, 2 rows behind her. His hands rested stiffly on his knees. His heart beat far too slow for a man who once commanded everything around him. Across the aisle, Naomi pretended to flip through a magazine. Her fingers trembled against the pages. Time dragged. Flight attendants offered coffee and warm towels, unaware of the silent storm brewing in the corridor. Little Arya slept, her breathing soft and innocent, the center of a secret floating between 2 adults bound by guilt. Alexander turned toward the window. Outside, the sky stretched gray and endless, a mirror of the sea inside his chest. Memories flashed in fragments. That afternoon in Seattle, when he met Naomi at a photography exhibit, her shy smile as she showed him a portrait of a child playing in the rain, the sound of her laughter echoing through her studio when he insisted on posing for a picture just to steal a few more minutes near her. 5 years ago, he thought nothing could break them, but something did, something he still couldn't name. And now, fate was forcing him to face the echoes of what they both chose to bury. Naomi looked up from the magazine, and their eyes met. It was brief, but it hit like a collision. His gaze hadn't changed, cold on the surface, burning underneath. She wanted to speak, but the words never came. She simply turned back to the window. Outside, sunlight fought to break through the clouds. Alexander noticed. That small, simple movement, the way she turned away, it was the same thing she did the last day he saw her. The day she walked away without a word, leaving only a letter that read, "Some truths are meant to stay silent." He remembered every letter, every reread, every night spent trying to decode what she meant. Now, sitting just a few seats away, he could feel the urge to break that silence. But fear anchored him to his seat. It was like facing a mirror that reflected everything he had tried to forget. The captain's voice came over the intercom. 40 minutes until landing in New York. The metallic sound of the announcement snapped reality back into place. Naomi pulled the blanket over Arya and took a deep breath. Alexander closed his eyes for a moment, as if trying to organize the chaos inside him. Between them, the air vibrated, not with anger, but memory. They were not the same people anymore. She was a woman who had learned to survive alone. He was a man who had conquered the world, but lost what truly mattered. Fate had placed them side by side again, 2 strangers bound by a shared past. A light turbulence shook the cabin. Arya stirred in her sleep, and Naomi instinctively reached to steady her. Alexander watched that gesture, and something inside him cracked open. For 5 years, he told himself he didn't want a family. That love was weakness. But one look at that small sleeping child, and he knew that emptiness had a name. When the plane leveled again, he realized his entire life was about to change. Just not here. Not yet. As the pilot announced the final descent, Alexander leaned back, eyes fixed on the ceiling. Each passing second felt like a test of endurance. Naomi stared out the window, and in silence he wondered, does she know how much she destroyed me? Or was I the one who destroyed her first? The plane began its descent. Lights flickered on. Passengers fastened their seatbelts. Alexander straightened his jacket, shoulders tense. Naomi gently woke Arya. The little girl blinked sleepily and mumbled, "Mommy, are we there yet?" That word, "mommy," hit him harder than any heartbreak. He looked away, swallowing the ache. The engines roared. Outside, the clouds parted to reveal a city of lights and promises below. Alexander exhaled slowly. Naomi held her daughter's hand. And for the first time in 5 years, fate was ready to make them face the silence they once chose to keep. The landing was smooth, but inside Naomi Bennett, everything trembled. As the plane taxied down the runway toward New York, she kept her eyes fixed on the window, watching the lights outside flicker like tiny promises or warnings. Just a few more minutes, she told herself. Then you'll go your separate ways, the way it was always meant to be. Arya slept soundly against her lap, a small stuffed bunny tucked beneath her chin. The gentle rhythm of her breathing was the only thing keeping Naomi steady. She brushed a few soft curls from her daughter's forehead, her fingers lingering, trying to calm the storm that Alexander Graves had awakened inside her. 5 years. 5 long years hiding a truth she once believed was mercy. 5 years rebuilding herself far away from him, far from the man whose eyes could still disarm her with a single glance. When the seatbelt sign clicked off, her heart raced. She had to get out before he said anything, before the past caught up. The captain's voice filled the cabin, announcing the gate for arrival. Naomi forced a smile and gently woke her daughter. "Hey, sweetheart, we're here." Arya blinked drowsily. "Are we in New York now?" "Yes, princess. We'll see Aunt Melissa tomorrow and get some ice cream, remember?" Arya smiled, half asleep, and Naomi's heart clenched. All she wanted was to protect that smile from the weight of adult truths. As passengers began to stand, Naomi grabbed her bag, careful not to look behind her, but she could feel his gaze. Alexander sat still, watching in silence. Something in him was different. He wasn't the cold, arrogant man she once knew. The power was still there, in his posture, his tailored suit, his calm control, but now there was something else beneath it, a vulnerability she had never seen before. She took a deep breath and stepped into the aisle, holding her daughter close. Arya turned her head, curious. "Mommy, that man was looking at us. Is he your friend?" Naomi froze. The words caught in her throat. Those same gray-green eyes looked up at her, the living reflection of the man she tried to forget. "He's..." Naomi swallowed hard. "He's a friend Mommy met a long time ago." Arya nodded with the innocent trust of a child who still believes all stories have happy endings. "He seemed to like me," she whispered. "He helped me when I was scared." "Yes, he was very kind," Naomi said softly, her voice trembling. "Now we need to get our bags, okay?" As they moved down the aisle, Alexander followed from a distance. The cool lights of the airport gleamed off the glass and metal signs. He tracked every step they took, afraid that if he blinked they might disappear. He didn't know what to think. Part of him wanted to confront her, to demand answers, to shout, to ask why. But another part, the quieter and more broken one, just watched, trying to understand the impossible truth that had found him at 30,000 feet. The girl was beautiful, and those eyes. He didn't need tests or proof. He already knew the way only a father could. Naomi stopped to fix the strap of her bag. Alexander took half a step forward, hesitating. She turned instinctively, and their eyes met again. His breath caught. She shook her head slightly, a silent plea. Not here. He understood. For now, silence would speak for both of them. Naomi walked on, heading toward the baggage claim. The airport buzzed around them, voices, announcements, rolling luggage. But for Alexander, it all faded to static. The only sound he heard was the echo of a past that refused to stay buried. Arya pointed to a window. "Look, Mommy, that plane looks just like ours." "Yes, sweetheart," Naomi said, forcing a smile. "There are lots of planes here. Do you think that man will fly again too?" "I think so," she answered quickly, avoiding the child's gaze. But Alexander didn't move. He stood a few yards behind, watching them, mother and daughter, as if seeing a dream he wasn't ready to wake from. His pride, the same pride that had once cost him Naomi, was now tangled with guilt and fear of losing them again. Naomi reached for the suitcase, pulling it from the carousel. Arya stumbled slightly, and Alexander took a step forward on instinct, then stopped himself. Not now. She wasn't ready. The little girl tugged her mother's hand. "Mommy, is that man going where we're going?" Naomi knelt, meeting her daughter's eyes. "No, baby. He's going his way, and we're going ours." But as she said it, something deep inside her wavered. Alexander's jaw tightened. He didn't know what he'd say. He didn't even know where to start. But one thing was clear. He couldn't let them vanish into the crowd. Not again. Cold New York wind sliced through the air as Naomi Bennett stepped out of the terminal, Arya's tiny hand locked in hers. The grey sky mirrored her mood, heavy, clouded, torn between calm and storm. Each step echoed against the marble floor, her heels clicking in rhythm with the distant horns and rush of taxis. She just wanted to leave, to breathe, to forget what had happened 30,000 feet above the ground. But fate rarely asks permission. "Naomi." The voice was firm, close, too familiar. She froze. For a heartbeat she considered pretending she hadn't heard, but her body betrayed her, shoulders stiffening, breath faltering. Slowly she turned. Alexander Graves stood only a few yards away, dark suit cutting through the pale airport light. For a moment neither spoke. Time hesitated between past and present. "I need to talk to you," he said, voice low, controlled. "Not here, Alexander." "Then where?" He stepped closer. 5 years, Naomi. You left me with a letter, a single sentence, and vanished. You think that's enough?" The words came sharper than he meant. Naomi drew a steady breath, fighting for composure. Arya watched them curiously, sensing the tension without understanding it. "Mommy, that's the man from the plane," the little girl whispered, tugging her mother's hand. Naomi crouched, hiding the tremor in her fingers. "Remember what we talked about, sweetheart? We have to find Aunt Melissa now." Arya nodded, distracted by the carousel of suitcases and noise. But Alexander didn't look away. "She's my daughter, isn't she?" The question came as a whisper, but hit like a scream. "Alexander, please." Her voice broke. "I don't want to do this now, go." He took another step. She moved back, instinctively placing herself between him and the child, as if his touch could undo everything she had built to survive. "You owe me an explanation," he said. 5 years, Naomi. 5 years without knowing what I did that was so unforgivable." Her eyes shimmered, but she blinked the tears away. "It's not about what you did. It's about what I had to do." Silence stretched between them. The wind lifted a strand of her hair, and for a second Alexander felt like he was standing inside the memory of losing her all over again. The slammed door, the echo, the letter, that single, cruel sentence. Some truths are meant to stay silent. She turned her face away as if looking at him made the air heavier. "I don't want to talk about this." "But I do," he said firmly. "I can't pretend nothing happened. I looked for you, Naomi, for months." She took a step back, eyes steady now. "And what if I tell you I never wanted to be found?" The floor seemed to vanish beneath him. Her words cut deeper than he expected. For a moment, the billionaire, the unshakable CEO, disappeared, and only the man she once loved remained. Confused, hurt, lost. Naomi looked down at Arya, still clutching her stuffed bunny. "I have to go," she said softly. "She's tired." He wanted to stop her, to say, "Don't go," but no sound left his mouth. He stood there watching as she walked away, her silhouette framed by the glass doors leading outside. Beyond the terminal, taxis lined the curb in a golden row of headlights. Naomi lifted her hand, calling one over. The icy wind caught her curls, and Alexander watched, as if witnessing a dream leaving for the second time. She opened the car door, helped Arya climb inside. For a moment, she hesitated, feeling his gaze behind her. She turned her head. Their eyes met once more. No anger, no hatred, just pain. A shared ache neither of them knew how to heal. Alexander took a step forward, but the taxi was already pulling away. Rain began to fall, soft and cold, glimmering in the streetlights. He stood there on the sidewalk, breath fogging in the winter air, and finally understood what he had refused to admit aloud. This wasn't coincidence. It was the beginning of something fate had never finished. The clock on the wall ticked toward midnight, when Alexander Graves pressed his forehead against the cool glass of the panoramic window in his Manhattan penthouse suite at the Langston Grand Hotel. Below him, the city sprawled like a sea of light, towers, yellow cabs, 1,000 moving stories, a living ocean that mocked the silence inside the room. Behind him, an opened bottle of Chateau Margaux 2009 sat untouched on a slab of dark marble. 2 crystal glasses, 1 man. His Armani jacket lay draped over the armchair, tie undone, sleeves rolled back. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine cover, yet the man in the reflection was hollow. In the glass, he saw what the world saw, a 36-year-old billionaire who had everything. But all he could see were the grey-green eyes of a 4-year-old girl, eyes that matched his own. Alexander poured a measure of wine, the ruby liquid gliding down the glass. He took a sip, smooth, expensive, meaningless. The taste comforted no one. The suite smelled of polished wood, perfume, and quiet. Every piece of Italian furniture stood perfectly aligned, a mirror of his life, flawless and utterly empty. He closed his eyes, and the past returned like a film he couldn't stop playing. Seattle, 5 years earlier. Golden light streamed through the windows of Naomi Bennett's photography studio, painting everything in shades of amber. Frames lined the walls. Old cameras cluttered the shelves. Children's laughter bounced through the air, and in the middle of it all, and there she was, kneeling, adjusting the focus of her lens to capture a little girl's smile. Her eyes glowed with that unmistakable warmth, real, unfiltered, human. Everything he wasn't. Alexander Graves, he'd said, voice low, posture perfect. She lifted an eyebrow, half amused. And what's the owner of half of Seattle doing in my studio? He laughed, disarmed. Looking for someone who can capture humanity in a corporate world, and I think I just found her. He came back the next day, and the next, always with an excuse, contracts, sponsorships, documents he could have sent by email. But the truth was simple. Every visit made his world a little less grey. They were opposites. She, a free-spirited artist, living on coffee and stories. He, heir to an empire, raised on discipline and cold dinners under crystal chandeliers. Yet when they were together, time stilled. The sound of rain outside, the scent of paper and film, her fingers guiding his on an old camera, the moment his world learned softness. For a while that was enough, until his world started invading hers. Back in the present, Alexander loosened his collar. The fabric was expensive, but the weight on his chest was ordinary. Heartbreak never cared about status. He crossed to the desk and opened the old leather briefcase he'd carried for years. Inside lay a folded piece of paper, the letter. The paper had yellowed, still carrying a faint scent of jasmine, her perfume. He read it again, the words that had haunted him for half a decade. Some truths are meant to stay silent. Her handwriting was small but firm, each stroke trembling, as if she'd written through tears. "What truths, Naomi?" he murmured. His voice cracked. "What did you think I couldn't bear to hear?" The next memory hit like a punch. That dinner, the Graves mansion. A week before she disappeared. Crystal chandeliers, polished silver, a table long enough to seat an army. And at the head, Eleanor Graves, his mother, elegance sharpened into a weapon. "Alexander," she said with a smile smooth as ice, "your involvement with that girl is reckless." He set his fork down. "She has a name, Mother." His father, Richard, didn't look up from his papers. Daughter of a seamstress, a street photographer, not the match one expects for a Graves. He still remembered the heat rising in his chest. "What's expected of a Graves," he said, standing, "is to live his own life." He hadn't known then what happened next. That same week, His mother went to Naomi. She walked into the studio wrapped in her usual poison-sweet grace, laid a leather folder on the counter, and inside it, a folded check. "It isn't personal, Miss Bennett," she said calmly. "It's about what's best for my son." Naomi's hands tightened around the counter. "The best thing for your son," she answered, "would be to let him decide for himself." Eleanor smiled, a smile that never reached her eyes. "Some truths hurt more than lies. Think about that." When she left, Naomi stood frozen in place, heart racing. She told no one, not even Alexander, but deep down she knew. If she stayed, she'd destroy his life, or her own. And soon after, she learned something that changed everything, something no one else could ever know. Back in the present, Alexander looked out at the rain streaking the window. The city shimmered beneath him. The wine remained untouched. So did his pride. One truth cut through the noise in his mind. No matter how many years had passed, no matter what she was hiding, he would find it. He would find her. The rain against the glass of the penthouse window was almost hypnotic. Alexander Graves turned the wine slowly in his glass, watching droplets slide down the pane like memories time refused to wash away. The city shimmered below, cold, vibrant, indifferent, but all he saw was Naomi's face. That night had never left him. The last night he held her close. The final moment before silence took everything. Seattle, 5 years earlier. It was a grey afternoon when the phone rang in his office. Her voice came through, soft, hesitant. "Alex, can we meet tonight? I need to talk." His heart kicked hard against his chest. "Of course, where?" A pause. "The park, near the old gallery. 7 o'clock. He didn't ask why. Just hearing her voice was enough. The wind was sharp that evening, threading through the trees when he saw her walking toward him. A beige coat, hair loosely tied, eyes distant. Something in her carried both urgency and sadness. "You okay?" he asked, stepping closer. She forced a small smile. "I'm fine, just tired. I needed to see you." He studied her face, every line, every flicker of expression, as if memorizing it for a lifetime. "Dinner?" he offered. "There's a new place by the waterfront. You'll love it." She wanted to refuse, but she didn't. And for the first time in days, she smiled. Really smiled. The restaurant glowed with golden light reflecting off the sea. Glass walls, soft music, crystal stems. Alexander ordered her favorite wine. He still remembered. She laughed softly. "You're impossible. How do you know I still like this one?" "I watch," he said, with that look that always made her forget the world. All through dinner she tried to speak, to tell him what his mother had done, but every word died before it reached her lips. How could she tell him that his own mother had come to her studio, offering money to disappear? How could she say she'd been threatened, humiliated, reminded of her place? Alexander spoke about the future, new projects, a short trip, a quiet escape from the city. Naomi just listened, storing each laugh, each glance, as if she knew this would be their last dinner together. When they left, a light rain painted the streets in gold and silver. He held the umbrella above them and led her to the car, a black sedan, leather interior, faint scent of mint. But instead of driving her home, he took a detour. "I want to show you something," he said, eyes glinting. They stopped at an overlook high above the city. Below, Seattle shimmered like 1,000 constellations. The wind was cool, but standing near him, she felt warm. Alexander leaned against the car, watching her. Her hair danced in the wind, her skin lit by distant lights. "Sometimes," he whispered, "I forget to breathe when I look at you. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Naomi turned away, laughing nervously. He stepped closer, slowly, until there was no distance left. The kiss came like a promise, fierce, tender, trembling with everything they'd never said. His hands cradled her face, as if she were the last thing worth holding. Her fingers slid into his hair, pulling him closer. It was desire. It was pain. It was guilt. It was relief. And the rest of that night blurred. Soft laughter, whispered words, hands intertwined. It was the night they made love, the first and last time. Neither knew destiny was listening, ready to turn everything upside down. Days later, Naomi woke with a strange nausea. She thought it was exhaustion, until the test told the truth she feared most. Pregnant. The world tilted. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. She sat on the edge of the bed, hugging her knees, while Eleanor Graves's words echoed like poison. He doesn't need you, and you don't want to know what a scandal could do to his career. Tears fell before she could stop them. She loved Alexander, but she loved the idea of him free even more, free from his family's claws, from whispers that would destroy him. She knew he wouldn't let her face it alone. She knew if she told him, he'd give up everything for her. And to Naomi, that would be his undoing. So she chose silence, she chose pain, she chose to disappear. Back in the present, Alexander set his glass down on the marble counter and closed his eyes. He could still feel her perfume in the air, still hear her laughter beneath the rain. And without meaning to, he whispered into the quiet, "The most perfect night of my life, and the last." 10:37 p.m. The glowing digits on the clock were the only light inside the penthouse. Alexander Graves ran a hand through his hair, eyes fixed on the sleepless city below. From the top of his Manhattan tower, New York looked like a maze of gold, bridges pulsing, avenues alive, every reflection in the glass another piece of his emptiness, staring back at him. The wineglass in his hand trembled slightly. The taste of Chateau Margaux no longer calmed him. Nothing had since the moment he saw her again. His phone lay on the mahogany table beside a Patek Philippe watch and a leather notepad. He stared at it for a long moment, hesitant, as if calling that number might alter the course of his entire life. Finally, he exhaled and dialed the contact he'd found buried deep in his old records. Melissa Bennett, Naomi's sister. The ring echoed through the silence, slicing through the faint sound of rain on the windows. After several beats, a cautious female voice answered. "Hello." Alexander closed his eyes for a second. "Melissa, it's Alexander Graves." Silence. He could almost hear her heartbeat on the other end. "Alexander," her tone sharpened. "Is this some kind of joke?" "No, I just want to talk." His voice was calm, though his pulse was racing. "It's about Naomi." The faint scrape of a chair echoed through the line. Melissa sighed. "You have some nerve calling after everything you did." Alexander froze. "I don't know what you think I did, but I need to understand. She disappeared. I never had the chance to ask why." "Maybe," she said bitterly, "because some questions don't have answers you'd like to hear." He walked to the glass bar, poured more wine just to have something to hold. The sound of the liquid filled the silence between them. "I saw Naomi," he said quietly, "and I saw the little girl." Another pause. He continued before she could speak. "I know. I don't need anyone to confirm it. She's my daughter, isn't she?" Melissa didn't answer right away. When she finally did, her voice came soft, heavy with something close to fear. "It's not my place to say that, Alexander." "Then whose is it?" His tone tightened. "I deserve to know what happened." Her breath wavered on the other end. "What happened," she said slowly, "is that your world and hers were never the same. You came from a family that believed it could buy everything, even other people's destinies." The words hit harder than she could have known. Alexander set the glass down, no longer trusting his grip. "Are you saying my parents had something to do with this? You really don't know, do you?" Her voice softened, almost pitying. "Naomi never wanted to destroy anyone's life. Not yours. She just tried to protect herself." "Protect herself from what?" he demanded, pressing the phone to his ear. Melissa hesitated. When she finally spoke, her tone carried more sorrow than anger. "Alexander, I'm not the one you should be asking, but I'll tell you this, and whatever she went through, it wasn't fair." His stomach turned. "Where is she staying?" "I can't tell you that," she said firmly. "She made me promise not to let anyone know." "Anyone?" he pushed. "Not even the father of her child?" The silence that followed was deafening. Then, a weary sigh. "Do you still love my sister?" The question hit him like a strike to the chest. He swallowed hard. "I never stopped." "Then prove it," she said, part challenge, part mercy. "Not with money, not with promises. Prove you're the man she once believed you could be." The line went dead. The silence in the penthouse was brutal. Alexander stood there, phone in hand, as if the device might still speak for her. He leaned against the window, watching his reflection shimmer against the city lights. Memories replayed: the dinner in Seattle, her laughter, the rain sliding down the windshield, and that last look she gave him, half love, half fear. He rubbed his hands over his face. The truth was sinking in. His parents had lied. Naomi hadn't left because she stopped loving him. She'd left because she loved him too much. But something in Melissa's voice had given him more than information. It was a clue, a tone, a hesitation, a sliver of truth. The kind of detail a man like him, a CEO trained to read people, could recognize instantly. He picked up the phone again, opened a map of New York. His eyes fell on one word: Brooklyn. That's where she was. He could feel it. He looked at his reflection one last time. The man staring back looked tired, yes, but different, less armored, more human. He set down the wine, grabbed his coat, and headed for the elevator. As the doors closed, his pulse quickened. He didn't know what he would say when he saw her. He didn't know how she'd react. But for the first time in 5 years, Alexander Graves wasn't chasing a deal. He was chasing his life. Melissa Bennett's apartment was small, but alive. Tucked on a quiet street in Brooklyn, it breathed warmth. Walls filled with art, shelves stacked with books, the smell of fresh coffee lingering like a memory. Outside, rain whispered against the windows. Inside, an old record played softly, filling the silence between the sisters. Naomi Bennett sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, eyes distant. Since arriving 2 days earlier with Arya, she'd barely spoken about what had happened in New York. She didn't need to. The tension in the room said it all. On the coffee table, Melissa's phone still glowed with the last missed call. Alexander Graves. "He called you, didn't he?" Naomi's voice was hoarse, almost a whisper, as if she'd read her sister's mind. Melissa crossed her arms, her face unreadable. "He did." Naomi looked down. "What did he want?" "What any man wants when he's left without answers," Melissa said gently, not mocking. "Just sad. He wanted to understand why you walked away." Naomi turned toward the window. Raindrops slid down the glass, reflecting the soft amber glow of the streetlights. "He shouldn't have looked for me," she murmured. "What happened up there was already too much." Melissa leaned forward. "You still love him, don't you?" Naomi hesitated, her voice trembling. "Love doesn't mean things work out. Sometimes love just reminds you of what you've lost." Her sister sighed. "Love also isn't meant to be buried alive." Naomi closed her eyes. The words hit her like a cold wind. And suddenly, the past came flooding back. Seattle, 5 years earlier. The studio clock showed almost 9 p.m. when the phone rang. Naomi was packing up her photography equipment. "Bennett Photography, good evening," she answered. The voice that came next was deep, calm, and chilling. "Miss Bennett, you know who this is." She froze. "Richard Graves, Alexander's father." "What do you want?" she asked, steady but afraid. "I want to prevent you from destroying my son's future," he said, his tone slow, deliberate, and cruelly polite. "You're smart enough to know some boundaries are never meant to be crossed." Naomi's pulse raced. "I love your son, Mr. Graves, and he loves me. That should be enough." A cold laugh echoed through the receiver. "Love is a luxury people like you can't afford." She stayed silent, and then his voice turned even sharper. "I hear you're involved with that charity project our company supports. It would be unfortunate if something happened to those funds." Her blood ran cold. "Are you threatening me?" "I'm giving you a chance to do the right thing," he replied smoothly. "Stay away from my son. Don't make me repeat myself." The call ended, and with it, the world Naomi knew collapsed. Back in the present, Naomi rubbed her hands together as if trying to erase the memory. Melissa watched quietly. "He hurt you that much?" her sister asked softly. Naomi shook her head. "No, he never hurt me. It was the people around him." And then, the truth began to slip out. "Days after that call, I found out I was pregnant." Her voice was barely audible. Melissa's eyes widened. "You never told me that." "I didn't know what to do," Naomi whispered. "I knew if I told him, Alexander would fight his family, and they'd destroy him." The image of Richard Graves flashed in her mind, cold, powerful, merciless. Tears welled in her eyes. He was a Graves, Mel. Everything in his world came with a price, and I couldn't be the reason he lost everything. Melissa reached out and took her sister's hands, but he had a right to know. Naomi inhaled deeply, her voice breaking. Maybe, but back then, I only wanted to protect him. And the baby. The rain outside grew heavier, drumming against the glass. Silence filled the room, broken only by the ticking of the wall clock. That's when I wrote the letter, Naomi said finally. Just one sentence, because if I'd written more, I wouldn't have had the strength to leave. Melissa squeezed her hand, eyes glistening. And now? What do you feel now? Naomi's voice was quiet, fragile and certain all at once. That maybe I spent 5 years running from something fate never meant to let me escape. Melissa stood, moving toward the window. The streetlights glimmered in her eyes. Then maybe it's time to stop running. Naomi opened her mouth to reply, but froze when she saw her sister's expression. What is it? She asked, her pulse rising. Melissa pulled the curtain aside. There's a car outside, black, headlights off. Naomi's heart slammed against her ribs. She stood slowly, eyes fixed on the glass. Even before she saw clearly, she already knew. Alexander was there. The cold Brooklyn wind drifted through the quiet streets as Alexander Graves stepped out of the black car. Streetlights cast long golden shadows across the rain-slick pavement. He adjusted the collar of his dark coat, drew a slow breath and looked up at the modest brick building ahead. The address he'd found after his call with Melissa Bennett. For a long moment, he just stood there on the sidewalk, staring at the lit windows. Inside that apartment, a life he'd never known was unfolding in peace, and he had no idea how much he needed it. Finally, he crossed the street and pressed the doorbell. Inside, Naomi Bennett was setting the table with her sister's help. The smell of soup and warm bread filled the small apartment. On the carpet, Aria played with her stuffed rabbit, lost in her own little world of laughter and imagination. That gentle harmony. It was everything Naomi had fought to protect, and it was about to tremble. The bell rang. Her heart stopped. She looked at Melissa, who immediately understood. "Do you want me to get it?" her sister whispered. Naomi shook her head, eyes fixed on the door. "No, I know who it is." Her hands trembled as she turned the knob, and there he was. Alexander, standing in the drizzle, his face serious, his eyes impossibly deep. The same man she'd tried to erase from her memory for 5 long years. "Can we talk?" he asked, his voice low but steady. Naomi froze. "Alexander, you shouldn't be here. I had to come," he said, taking a step forward. "I haven't slept since I saw you. Since I saw her." Naomi's gaze faltered. "Please, not here." But before either of them could say another word, a small voice chimed from behind her. "Mommy, it's the man from the airplane." Aria stood in the doorway, clutching her rabbit. Her lilac pajamas were covered in tiny stars, her curls loose and wild, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Alexander went completely still. For one suspended second, the world disappeared. Yes, he remembered. The little girl crying during the turbulence, and the strange pull that made him hold her hand until she smiled again. "Hi, Aria," he said softly, kneeling to her height. "I remember you. You were very brave that day." She grinned. "Mommy went to the bathroom and the plane was shaking a lot, but you held my hand and said it would stop, and it did." Naomi pressed her lips together, emotion tightening her chest. Her daughter had told her about the nice man on the plane, never knowing who he really was. Alexander smiled, eyes glistening. "I'm glad you remembered me." Aria studied him, head tilted. "You talk like the man on TV, real proper." He laughed quietly, disarmed by her honesty. "I guess that's how serious adults talk." From the kitchen doorway, Melissa watched the scene with a faint smile. "That child never forgets a thing," she murmured. Naomi drew a careful breath. "Aria, sweetheart, mister. Graves just came to talk to Mommy, okay?" The girl hugged her rabbit tighter. "Okay, but he's good at making people calm." Alexander swallowed hard. How could a child see so clearly what adults buried under fear? Melissa stepped closer. "Aria, why don't you show him the picture you drew earlier?" The little girl's face lit up. "Can I?" Naomi hesitated. Alexander gave a gentle nod. Of course you can. Arya hurried to the small table and came back with a sheet of paper, fingers smudged with crayon. 3 figures stood hand in hand beneath a bright yellow sun, a woman, a girl, and a brown rabbit. She held it up proudly. This is me, Mommy, and Mr. Rabbit. Then she looked at him, eyes wide with innocence. Do you want me to draw you too? The air seemed to vanish from the room. Alexander's throat tightened. I'd love that, he managed, voice rough. Naomi turned away, hiding the tears in her eyes. That simple moment, pure, unplanned, was stronger than any confession. It was as if fate whispered, she already knows you, just not your name. Arya skipped back to the couch, humming as she drew. Melissa disappeared into the kitchen, leaving the two alone. Alexander stood slowly. She's incredible. Naomi crossed her arms, forcing composure. She's everything to me. He nodded. I don't want to break any of this, Naomi, but I need to be near her. Even if it's only as a friend. She looked at him in silence, caught between fear and something dangerously close to hope. The man before her wasn't the same as the one she'd left years ago. The arrogant CEO was gone. What stood there was someone humbler, wounded, real. All right, she said finally, but no promises. He smiled faintly. No promises. When the door closed behind him, Naomi stayed still for a long time, staring at the quiet hallway. Arya's laughter floated through the room like a melody, and Naomi knew, from this night on, nothing would ever be the same again. When Alexander Graves stepped out of Melissa's apartment, the cold Brooklyn wind struck him hard. But even the night air couldn't calm the storm inside his chest. He slipped into the car, the engine purring softly beneath the cloudy sky, and drove toward Manhattan in silence. The bridge lights shimmered on the glass, like memories refusing to fade. At the Langston Grand Hotel, marble floors gleamed beneath golden chandeliers. The silence of luxury felt heavier than ever. Alexander ascended to the top-floor suite, removed his coat, and dropped his keys onto the mahogany table. The room was vast, gray silk curtains, a stone fireplace, a king-size bed dressed in perfect Italian sheets. Beside it, an untouched bottle of wine rested on a silver tray. He walked into the black marble bathroom, water cascading from the rain shower above. Hot water rolled down his shoulders, but it couldn't wash away his thoughts. Every drop echoed one word in his mind: Naomi. He dressed in soft white linen and stepped onto the balcony. The city below glowed like an ocean of light, beautiful, distant, unreachably alive. Then he picked up his phone. His fingers hovered before typing, "Can I see you tomorrow? Just to talk. I promise I won't push." The seconds ticked painfully slow. Almost 5 minutes passed before the screen lit up. "Alexander, I don't think that's a good idea," he sighed, leaning against the railing. "I don't want to hurt you, I just need to understand. Please." Another stretch of silence. Then, "All right, tomorrow, noon. There's a cafe near the park, but it's only to clear the air." For the first time in days, he smiled. "I'll be there. Thank you, Naomi." That night, he lay in the vast bed, surrounded by fine linens and emptiness. At 2 a.m., he finally drifted to sleep, dreaming of brown eyes and the sound of a little girl's laughter. Morning came softly. He rose before dawn, dressed in a blue linen shirt, his usual wood-toned cologne lingering in the air. A quick coffee, then the drive back across the bridge to Brooklyn. Every mile pulled him closer to the woman he had never truly let go. The cafe was small, cozy, filled with the smell of cinnamon and warm bread. Naomi was already there. When she saw him walk in, her heart tightened, not from anger, but from inevitability. He approached quietly. They sat across from each other, a tiny table and 5 years of silence between them. "Thank you for coming," he said, his tone soft. Naomi looked out the window before speaking. "I should have told you everything a long time ago." He drew a slow breath. "Then tell me now, why that letter? Why disappear?" Her fingers traced the rim of the cup. "Your mother came to the studios before that night," she began, her voice low. "She told me I wasn't good enough for you, that I'd ruin you." His jaw tightened. "She came to you?" "Yes, and I tried to tell you. That night at dinner, I wanted to. But you were so happy I couldn't take that from you. He nodded, eyes distant. And after that? Naomi's hands trembled slightly. A few days later, your father called me. He said if I didn't disappear, he'd destroy my reputation, my work, the charity project I was leading. Her voice broke. I believed him. And then I found out I was pregnant. Silence. Utter silence. The porcelain cup shook in his hands. You were alone, and you still chose to protect me. I chose to protect our daughter, she said firmly. I didn't want Arya growing up surrounded by hate. He rubbed his face, eyes glistening. And that line in the letter, some truths must remain silent. Now I understand. Naomi nodded, tears falling freely. It was the only way I knew to spare you. Alexander reached across the table. She hesitated, then took his hand. For the first time in 5 years, their touch didn't hurt. It healed. That night, back in the apartment, Naomi knew there was one more truth left to tell. Arya. After dinner, she found her daughter curled on the couch, holding her rabbit. Naomi sat beside her, heartbeat wild. Arya, sweetheart, can I tell you something important? The little girl looked up, curious. Naomi smiled through trembling lips. Remember the man from the airplane? The one who came here? Arya nodded eagerly. I remember. He's nice. Naomi's eyes softened. Yes, he is. And darling, that man, Alexander, he's your daddy. Arya blinked, quiet for a moment. Then, a soft, knowing smile. I knew it. He has my eyes. Naomi laughed through tears, pulling her close. The weight she'd carried for years lifted all at once. The next morning, she sent a message. I told Arya. She wants to see you. His reply came instantly. I'm on my way. Moments later, the doorbell rang. Arya ran to the door, hair flying, smile wide. Daddy, she shouted, and the word filled the air like music. He dropped to his knees, gathering her in his arms, his heart finally still. Then he looked up at Naomi. Can I stay in Brooklyn for a few days? I want to really know her. Naomi nodded, eyes shining, and as he smiled, the city outside seemed to breathe with them, as if at last the truths once silenced had found their voice. The morning sun of Brooklyn slipped through the curtains of the Astoria Park Hotel, a discreet haven of luxury, surrounded by old trees and views of the East River. From the balcony of his suite, Alexander Graves watched the golden reflection of the sunrise shimmer across the still water, a cup of coffee warming his hands. For days, he'd been asking himself whether he deserved the second chance life had just given him. But every time he thought of Arya's smile, the answer came softly from somewhere deep within. Yes. On the desk behind him, scattered reports and contracts lay forgotten. $1 million deals that, for the first time, meant absolutely nothing. The Swiss watch on his wrist read 9 a.m., but Alexander was already dressed for what truly mattered. A walk in the park with his daughter, dark jeans, white shirt, a light brown jacket that softened his usual formality. Meanwhile, across town at Melissa Bennett's apartment, Naomi brushed her daughter's curls, her hands trembling slightly. Are you excited to see Daddy today? She asked with a quiet smile. Arya nodded, eyes sparkling. I want to show him Aunt Mel's park. He's gonna love it. Melissa, flipping pancakes in the kitchen, watched the two of them with tenderness. He seems like a changed man, Naomi, she said gently. Maybe life's taught him what money never could. Naomi smiled faintly. He always had a good heart, just too many people around him trying to bury it. Melissa came over and hugged her softly. Then let him prove he's the right man this time. The park was alive with color, amber and gold leaves swirling on the breeze, children's laughter echoing under the trees. Alexander arrived a few minutes early. When he saw them coming down the path, time seemed to slow. Arya ran ahead in a blue dress and knitted cardigan, curls bouncing while Naomi followed behind, elegant in a cream sweater, navy pants, and a light wool scarf that caught the sunlight. For a moment, Alexander thought he was watching a dream he once had, one he'd never stopped missing. Daddy, Arya called, running straight into his arms. He crouched, scooping her up, his laughter breaking free like something long imprisoned. Hey, my brave girl, you look even more beautiful than yesterday. I brought Mr. Rabbit to play with us, she said proudly. holding up the stuffed toy. "And I want to show you the highest swing in the park." "Then let's go," he said, lifting her high, her giggles lighting up the crisp morning air. Naomi watched from a distance, heart swelling. She had never seen Alexander smile like that, free, unguarded, human, and realizing that it was Arya who made him smile that way, stirred something deep inside her, something no memory could compare to. Later, they sat on a bench beneath the trees. Alexander handed Arya a cup of hot chocolate and passed Naomi a cappuccino. The little girl chattered endlessly about her rabbit, her school garden, the drawing she'd made of the three of them. Every word pierced Alexander's heart with love and regret. "She's amazing," he murmured. Naomi smiled softly. "She's my miracle." He turned toward her, voice lower now. "Our miracle." For a few moments they said nothing, just listened to the wind carrying fallen leaves across the grass. There was no tension this time, only quiet understanding. "Naomi," he said at last, "I don't want to rush anything. I know I can't undo the past, but I want to be part of your lives, of her life." Naomi looked at him with warmth and restraint. "Arya already loves you, Alexander. That's a start." He smiled faintly. "And what about you?" She looked down, fidgeting with her cup. "I'm still learning how to believe again." "Then let me show you that you can," he said gently. "Not with promises, just with presence." She breathed out slowly. "You'll have to be patient." "I can be," he replied, "but I can't be far." Naomi laughed softly. "Then I hope you like Brooklyn winters," he smirked. "I already booked a hotel nearby." Her head snapped up. "You what?" "I want to be close," he said simply. "To see Arya, to help however I can." Then, after a pause, "Maybe, to see you too." Color rushed to her cheeks. She said nothing, but her eyes softened. The wind lifted a loose strand of her hair, and Alexander reached out, brushing it gently from her face. The touch was brief, but enough to awaken everything time hadn't erased. "I missed this," he whispered. "What?" she asked, her voice barely a breath. "You." Naomi couldn't meet his eyes. She smiled instead, quiet and fragile. "Well, let's see how long you last in the Brooklyn cold, Mr. Graves." He chuckled. "For her, and maybe for you, I could endure any winter." Just then, Arya came running toward them, waving the rabbit. "Daddy, come on, let's take a picture." Alexander stood, lifted her into his arms, and looked toward Naomi. "Will you take it for us?" She nodded, lifting her phone. The shutter clicked. The image appeared. Alexander smiling, Arya hugging his neck, sunlight streaming through the trees. Behind the lens, Naomi felt something bloom quietly inside her. A warmth she thought was gone forever, now returning, soft and unstoppable, like spring after a very long winter. 2 weeks of vacation had passed faster than Naomi ever imagined. Brooklyn, with its quiet cafes, rustling trains, and golden morning light, had become the backdrop of an unexpected new beginning. But now, with her bags packed and a return ticket to Seattle in hand, her heart stood between two worlds, the one she built alone and the one that had begun to bloom again. That cold morning, Alexander Graves pulled up in front of Melissa's building. The black car glistened beneath the silver dawn. He stepped out, his dark wool coat sharp against the pale sky. When Naomi opened the door, their eyes met. A mixture of peace, longing, and something that felt dangerously like hope. "So, it's today," he said quietly. She nodded, forcing a small smile. "Yeah, these days went by too fast." He drew in a breath, hands tucked into his coat pockets. Fast isn't the word. It was everything. Behind her, Arya appeared, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Daddy, are you coming to Seattle too?" Alexander knelt down, fixing the little button on her coat. "Not yet, sweetheart, but I'll visit, I promise." "Daddy promises can't be broken," she said solemnly. He smiled. "Then this one never will." Naomi's eyes shimmered as she watched them. Their goodbye hug lingered, warm, quiet, reluctant. "Take care of yourself, Naomi," he said softly. "Thank you for letting me meet our daughter. Thank you for not giving up on us," she whispered. "Sometimes destiny just needs patience." He kissed her forehead gently. "And now, I have all the time in the world." The months that followed became a mosaic of video calls, flights, and little surprises. Alexander divided his life between Manhattan and Seattle, one suitcase for business, another for love. Each week brought him a little closer, each visit a little braver. The distance that once separated them now only measured how far they had come. Then, on a rainy March afternoon, Naomi was closing the studio when she heard a knock. When she opened the door, Alexander stood there, drenched, breathless, holding a bouquet of white tulips. "Alexander, you're soaked," she laughed, tears already forming. "It's pouring out there." "I had to see you," he said, stepping inside, raindrops tracing down his jaw. "And I had to say something before fear made me wait again." Her heart skipped. "What is it?" He set the flowers on the table and moved closer. "Naomi Bennett," he began softly, "you gave me a beautiful daughter, a reason to be a better man, and a second chance I didn't even know I needed." He paused, voice breaking. "I want to spend the rest of my life with both of you, to build a home honestly, quietly, without secrets or silence." Naomi gasped, her hands covering her mouth. And then he knelt. From his pocket he pulled a small velvet box, deep blue like the night sky. Inside lay a simple, delicate ring, a single diamond catching every glimmer of studio light. "I'm not asking for a yes because of our past," he said softly. "I'm asking because of who we can still become." Tears streamed down her cheeks. Naomi nodded, smiling through the tremor. "I never stopped believing, Alexander. I just had to forgive time." He slipped the ring onto her finger, his smile unsteady but full of love. "Then welcome back to my life. Officially." She laughed through her tears, pulling him into a fierce embrace. And that's when Arya came running in, rabbit in hand, stopping at the doorway with wide eyes. "What's happening?" she asked. Alexander looked to Naomi, who nodded gently. He knelt beside their daughter. "Well," he said with a grin, "Daddy just asked Mommy to marry him." Arya's eyes grew huge. "So, we're going to be a real family?" Naomi knelt too, taking her tiny hands. "We've always been a family, sweetheart. We were just waiting for the right moment to see it." Arya squealed with joy, wrapping her arms around both of them. "I knew God wanted us to be together." Their laughter filled the room, mingling with the soft rhythm of rain against the window. And in that moment, loss turned into miracle. Months later, on a clear summer morning, the new Graves home stood on a quiet Seattle hill, white walls, wide windows, a blooming garden, and in the backyard, the swing Arya had chosen herself. Alexander watched from the porch as Naomi and their daughter played beneath the trees. He still wore a suit, but for the first time in his life he wasn't in a hurry. Naomi walked up to him, her hand finding his. "See," she said with a smile. "Turns out life actually knows what it's doing." He kissed her knuckles softly. "Sometimes love has to lose its way to find the road back." Arya ran toward them, curls bouncing in the summer breeze. "Come on, Daddy. Let's take another picture." He laughed, lifting her into his arms, while Naomi adjusted the camera. The flash captured the moment. Alexander's smile, Naomi's eyes, Arya's laughter. Time frozen in a single frame. 3 hearts, 1 home, and a love that, after years of silence, had finally learned to speak. And so through forgiveness, new beginnings, and true love, Naomi, Alexander, and little Arya discovered that some stories don't end with time. They simply wait for the right moment to be reborn. Tell us in the comments, which part of this story moved your heart the most? If this story touched you, leave a like, subscribe to Hearts Rewritten, and share it with someone who still believes in second chances at love. Your support helps Hearts Rewritten grow, and keep creating stories that speak straight to the soul.